Okay, that was so much for that. Al?
Well, we try to get high tech and try to jazz up this show, but just one little thing went bad, so we're sorry. Let me go into a new area completely. Well, did you finish on the road?
I think we've gotten the position. I don't think we've gotten an answer on the bypass for more than just one person. I don't know whether we want to poll the board here or we want to address that. Jack, go ahead.
Well, I certainly am opposed to 844 and also the eastern bypass that would terminate and dump its traffic in Bowie. But I do have a question for my opponent in terms of his comment in relation to there should be no separation between the business community and the citizens, and I certainly agree with that. Why is it, though, that the business community is so out of touch with the reality of what Bowie citizens want that it would endorse the eastern bypass?
Well, to defend that position, I think I have to go back to the day that the president of the organization at that time was a strong believer in that. And as I remember, it was presented to the board as a, how would you feel about this? And at that time, it then began the development of looking into it. At that time, the alarm was about traffic congestion and gridlock, and what we felt at that time is that we would agree to see it being built along if the western bypass was built. At the first concept, it was through highways all the way through to Virginia, down next to Bowie. To me, it was no different than 301 personally, but upgrading safer. In the case of them not building the western bypass, it's my understanding that our position was we wouldn't want them to build it at all. And I thought it was similar to the city's position.
But the chamber has, to this day, endorses the eastern bypass.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it not incumbent on your role as a leader in the chamber to try and change that position?
Well, I appreciate that, and I think maybe I'll have to do it as city council and go to them and tell them our needs and change things are different, Jack. Maybe I'll get a greater voice.
Well, you met with the city council on that issue, though, Bert, and we've made our position very clear.
We haven't discussed it in 3 years in that council.
No. We had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce on this just a few months ago.
I haven't heard discussion about that issue in years.
But you were at the meeting.
Okay, gentlemen, that's.
Yes.
I think we can get off that one now. We don't want to get into that detail of who's right on a particular thing as to what happened. I want to change the subject so that Terry Schutte will have some additional substance to cover in a few minutes. One is this. Our state delegates from the Bowie area, with Governor Schaefer's urging, voted to pass the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Maryland. Some of the taxes to be raised automatically come to the city treasury through revenue sharing. That's right, isn't it, gentlemen? Correct. Okay. Since many of you incumbents said at an earlier candidates forum that our city was in the black financially and were in effect touting how well off we were compared to other municipalities, would you propose to reduce city taxes so as to return some of that extra state tax revenue back to the taxpayer? Anybody want to address that? Richard, Dahms.
Well, first of all, Mr. Galato, the Bowie City Council has not been straight with the people of Bowie. Let's face it, they've not been straight with the people of Bowie about the Maryland financial crisis. The Maryland financial crisis. And you are correct, there's a revenue sharing situation. And it's obvious that if the state revenues go down, because if they don't pass the taxation, then there's the trickle-down effect. There was no, that's all caused by a recession. Let me assure you there was no recession in Bowie City government. Look at the salaries that they pay in City Hall. They got 7%. How many people got 7% in the city? Mr. Galato, I believe that, and I'm going to ask Mayor Logue right now, Mayor, what kind of payroll increase will you be giving the city employees of Bowie? This is revenue sharing.
Now, we'll go into that. I do have that, and I'll promise you we'll go into it. But I want to know whether the windfall that the city of Bowie will probably get as a result of this extraordinary Maryland tax increase that our 3 delegates voted for
We don't know if we're
will
going to get a
be, in
windfall.
fact, returned to the people to some extent, or will we find somewhere to spend it? That's a hard question, gentlemen, but it's a reality question. That's what's going to happen.
Rest as-
Fred?
Al, I think when the budget process starts in May, we will by that time have a clear picture of what the state revenue is going to be, what the federal revenue is that comes through the city, and we'll know what our own condition is. As you know, and as anybody that's paid attention to what's going on and looked at budget years, we try, and we've been very effective, I think, in containing the cost of government. Our tax rate is, in fact, very competitive when you compare the services that you get. And most of the things that we do are on, in effect, a de facto user fee, whether it be water and sewer, whether it be trash pickup or whatever. So I think there's clearly a track record of this council trying to keep taxes as low as they can. If there's a way to reduce taxes, I mean, that's like telling you that we're for mom and apple pie. Of course we're for that.
Okay.
We're hearing a lot of
On that
baloney.
subject,
We're
Richard.
hearing a lot of baloney, Mr. Galato, a lot of baloney. These people have raised taxes 3 times in 7 years, always in non-election years. And concerning the budget process, rest assured, the budget process has already started. Mr. Robinson says it's in May.
Richard,
They're
Mr.
already
Dahms,
working
we're
on
very
the
limited
budget.
here, and I'm trying to keep this focused on that.
Will somebody answer
Maryland
the
tax
question?
increase and its effect that it will have on the city of Bowie and its taxpayers. Mr. Twigger.
Mr. Galato, the 50% of the taxes that are collected on real estate, 50% of the income that Bowie has is a result of real estate taxes, and it comes from the county. The 25% comes from fuel bonds and so forth, of which I think you're getting at. This is part of the 25% of Bowie's revenues. I don't see a great windfall that Bowie is going to receive. I think they may see some additional monies, but I think it's going to be curtailed by the taxes that will be taken away from the real estate side through the county.
Okay. I didn't go into the fact that the piggyback tax on the county may also be raised. I didn't go into the fact that the city does get part of the state income tax, because that's why you have to identify the city and county you come from. And it would seem to me that there's going to be a windfall, Mr. Twigger. Now we'll go to Terry Schutte, who is the columnist, political reporter, and commentator from the Bowie Blade News. Terry?
I don't know if I'm supposed to disagree with the moderator, but may I?
You got a good one going on, Terry.
Well, I'm afraid I have to I disagree with the characterization of a windfall. The people who did not vote for the tax increases in the House have besieged the media with press releases about, this outrageously high tax increase. It's the same business again of taking all the tax dollars and adding them up as if they're all in one pot instead of in various ones. And I just, before I think we have to ask, what would you cut, what would you not spend it for? In a way, I guess Al was getting to that question by saying, would you give it back to the people? But, if we're overtaxed, if people believe that, then I think, they should also say what they would do without. And then what you're always going to get into, whether it's at the city level, the county level, or the state level, is, don't tax me, don't tax thee, tax that guy behind the tree. And the same thing with the programs. Don't cut mine, don't cut yours, cut somebody else's. It just gets to be a really useless argument.